Hi everyone and welcome to another YouTube video. I am Raluca and I do makeup. This video is going to be for beginners, for the people that are not used to wearing a lot of makeup and they want to know how to wear makeup without it looking very heavy and cakey. I actually got a request from one of you guys to share some tips and tricks on how to make the makeup look more natural and not heavy and cakey. So here it is. Before we jump into the video, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to my channel. It really helps me a lot. So yeah, if you want to see how I did this very soft beginner-friendly makeup look, then keep on watching. Okay, to start things off, if you want your makeup to look good and natural, you need to have a good skincare routine. That to me means a basic of a cleanser, moisturizing cream, SPF, and if you wear makeup you need a micellar water to remove it at night. Right now I just woke up, I washed my face and I didn't apply anything to my skin, so I can show you what I usually do in the mornings. So in the mornings I wash my face with just water. I only use cleanser at night before bed. And then I apply some eye cream. This is the Laneige Water Bank Eye Gel. I just gently tap the eye cream around my eye area using my ring finger. And now I'll move on to the face cream, and I'm currently using and obsessing over the La Roche Posay Toleriane Fluide face cream, this one right here. It's really lightweight, it absorbs really quick, and what I like about it is that it has a really clean list of ingredients. It has nothing that can irritate or make you break out. And I just apply 2 pumps on my entire face and then massage it in. I'm also going to apply a lip balm to moisturize my lips, and I'm using the La Roche Posay Cicaplast repairing balm something, and I apply a little bit on my lips. I usually do this routine right after I wake up, like it's part of my bathroom routine. In the morning I wash my face and I apply these creams, and then I let it absorb until I do, I don't know, something else like dress up, eat something, whatever. After that I will do my makeup when the products are absorbed. Until this absorbs, I'm going to eat my breakfast and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And at this point, if I was to go out of the house, what I would do is I would use an SPF cream. This is the one that I'm using right now, the Ultrist SPF 30. But today I won't go out, and at the same time it's cloudy outside, so I don't know, I won't use SPF today. But if I was to exfoliate the night before, I would definitely use SPF today, even if I'm staying in the house. Moving on, what I'm going to do is apply a primer. This is the NYX Angel Veil Primer. This is not an essential step. The facial cream is a great base for your foundation. I'm going to prime mainly in this area here where my pores are a little bit larger, so that the overall look of the skin is going to be a lot smoother in the end. So I'll take a very little amount of primer, something like this, and I'll just apply it, like I said, only where my pores are a little bit bigger, mainly in my T-zone. And I'll push the primer in with my fingers to smooth out my skin. Moving on to foundation, if you want a natural skin-like look, you need to look for a foundation that's more thin and liquid in consistency. For example, today I'm going to use the Infaillible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. It has a very thin texture and it's kind of dripping off my hand. To show you a comparison, this is the Becca Skin Love Foundation, and it's something like this. It's very thick, like a paste. You can see this one is more liquidy and this one is really thick in consistency. This one is much higher in coverage and kind of looks fake and cakey on the skin, while this one looks a lot more natural. Okay, so I'm going to apply the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear Foundation. I'm in the shade 130 True Beige, and I'm just going to squeeze like 1.5 pumps. I think it's enough. If you want your foundation to look natural, you need to apply less product. So I'll take it on my finger and just dot it on my skin. 1 pump, maybe 1.5 pumps is more than enough if you want a natural look. I think this is already a little bit too much. I'll do some dots on my jawline as well, so it doesn't look like a mask. And I'll avoid my eye area. I'll just leave a little bit on my hand because I feel like this is enough for now, and if I need more coverage in some areas, I'll cover them up. The most natural look is achieved by using a sponge. And you have to damp the sponge first, squeeze out the excess water, and then you can use it to blend in your foundation. The sponge kind of absorbs a little bit of the excess product, which leaves you with a very natural look. Again, I'll avoid my eye area because I'm going to use concealer on that area and I don't want to cake it up with too much product. If you have like redness or pimples or whatever skin problems that you might have, you don't want to cake it up with foundation to cover them up. Rather, apply a thin layer of foundation and then take a concealer in your foundation shade and just spot conceal, so that way your face won't look cakey and loaded with product. And I think I'm going to apply a little bit more here. It's still the product on my hand, I haven't applied any more. So about a pump and a half of this particular foundation is more than enough to cover up your entire face. And the excess I will blend on my neck. This is how my skin is looking right now with just foundation. As you can see, it's really light coverage, natural finish. Moving on, I'm going to apply a little bit of concealer. For concealer, I'd rather have a really high coverage one because I'm not going to apply a lot. So I'm going to use the Urban Decay Stay Naked Concealer. This one is in the shade 40 NN. Again, you don't want to apply a lot of product. Look at your under eyes and look where your problem is. Like for example, my issue is right here in the inner corner. I do have like a blue spot here that's like my dark circle. And I feel like the inner portion, especially here, is the spot that most people want to cover. So I'll take my concealer and I'll apply the tiniest bit here, just in my inner portion. And I personally use concealer to prime my eyelids as well, to cancel out any darkness that's going around on my eyelid. If you have oilier eyelids, you can use an eye primer, because eye primers usually are more dry and absorb the excess oils on your eyelid. Personally, my eyelids are quite dry and I find that concealer works best for me. So again, without dipping back into the tube, I just apply a little bit of concealer on my eyelid as well. That's the amount of concealer that we need. Again, I'm going to take my sponge, and with the tip of the sponge I'm going to blend the concealer in by tapping. Don't drag the product around using the sponge because that's not the point of it. By tapping the product, you make sure that it stays in the same area. And then on the rest of my under eye, I'm just going to use whatever is left on my sponge. In my opinion, there is no concealer out there that lasts on its own and doesn't crease. Every concealer needs setting with powder. So the next step is going to be powdering, and I'm going to use the Makeup Forever Super Matte Powder, and I'm going to apply it on my under eye using a fluffy brush, a fluffy blending brush like this, the kind of brush that you would use to apply colors in the crease. This is the Morphe M330 brush. Before I set my under eye, I'm going to make sure there are no creases. So I will take my sponge and kind of go over the concealer again to smooth these creases out. And then I will take a small amount of powder from here and dust off the excess. And then gently tap the powder over my under eye. And now I'll take a fluffy brush like this to set my entire face with powder. So I'm going to dip the brush in the powder like this. As you can see, it picks up a lot of product. I will dust it off. You can also swirl the brush in the lid like this to make sure there is no excess product on here, because you really don't want a large amount of powder on your face. It's going to look fake and cakey and powdery. And with this brush dusted off like this, I'm going to stamp the powder on my face don't drag it around because you're going to move the foundation. So I'm going to stamp this on my entire face. Just to set the foundation in place, to make sure that it's going to last and not fade. Powder kind of locks the foundation in, which means it's not going to transfer anymore. If you have a cream on your face, as soon as you touch your face, it's going to transfer on your fingers. Like, this is how my skin is looking right now. I hope the camera can pick it up. And now that our face is powdered, we can move on to applying other powdery products like bronzer and blush and highlighter. If you want to use cream products, you need to apply all your creams first, like cream bronzer, cream blush, and after that you have to powder. Okay, so I'm going to use this NYX Highlight and Contour Pro palette to kind of bronze up my skin a little bit. And I'm going to apply the bronzer with a Morphe 405 brush. Just make sure that your bronzer or contour powder is not too dark. That is going to look way too harsh. I'm usually mixing this light cool tone shade here with this slightly darker one. If you don't want to mess it up and apply a lot of product, you always need to dust off the excess from the brush. That is like a general rule for powders in general, for bronzers, for blushes as well, highlight, even eyeshadow. I always dust off the excess from the brush so I don't apply a very dark patch of color and then not know what to do with it. I'd rather build the product up, so apply very less amount and build up from there rather than applying a lot from the beginning. How I usually bronze / contour is I follow a line from the top of my ear to the center of my face and kind of do like a half circle. I don't apply the bronzer in a straight line. I will start here and then do like a half circle to the center of my face, something like this. We want here to be the most intense, and then fade it towards the center of our face. So something like this. I'll pick up a little bit more, again to build up the product a little bit. And I feel like that's enough for our cheeks. I'll pick up a little bit more again, dust off the excess. And then I'll apply a little bit on my jawline here, kind of dragging it down towards my neck. And I'll take a little bit more and apply it on the temples and forehead. Start here from the temple, as I like to contour this area, especially for my face shape. And I'll contour the sides of my forehead a little bit. And another thing that I like doing with the bronzer is, again, pick up a little bit of the product and then bronze up the under my nose area to kind of warm it up a little bit. Okay, next step is going to be blush, and make sure that the shade that you're going to use is, again, not too dark for you, because it's going to look like a patch on your skin. I'm using this Sigma Blush Cheek palette. It's very useful because it has a lot of shades, especially if you're a makeup artist. For personal use, 1, maybe 2 shades of blush is enough. I'm actually going to mix 2 shades because that's what I usually do. I use this more peachy natural shade and I'll mix it with a little bit of the pink. And again, I'll dust off the excess from the brush so I don't apply a lot of color. And the brush that I'm using is a Sigma F10 powder brush, and I like applying the blush here above my contour, not too close to the center of my face. Imagine a straight line above the corner of the mouth, and you don't want to get over this area here. Just keep the blush outside this area, so above the contour and outside that area that I showed you. And I kind of blend it towards my contour. And if you apply it too much or you want to fade it out a little bit more, you can take your powder brush and just go over it to kind of make it look more natural. And what I like to do with my blush is apply a little bit here on the bridge of my nose. I don't apply additional product, I just use whatever is left on my brush. As you can see this side, I feel like with blush you get a more youthful look comparing to this side, which looks kind of dull, let's say. And the last powder product that I'm going to apply to my face is going to be highlighter. If you want a natural look, of course, you need to apply a very soft highlighter. And this e.l.f. one is a great example. So I'm going to apply it with a Sigma F03 highlighting brush. Coat my brush in the product and then again dust off the excess and apply it to my cheekbone. You kind of want to imagine a line from the corner of your eye, and the highlighter on your cheekbone is going to stay outside this area here. You will apply the highlight only here. If you would drag the highlight too close to the center of your face, it's going to emphasize your pores. So I'm going to apply it here on the highest point of my cheek. And this is how it looks. It's very soft and natural. And I'll also highlight here above each of my brows. I do have dry skin, so my skin is kind of missing that natural glow, so I like using more highlight than some other people might like. If you have like oily skin, you can only highlight your cheekbones, and that's okay because the natural oils of your face is going to do the rest of the job. I also like highlighting my chin and the bridge of my nose. I like highlighting here in between my brows. It's just a personal preference, but I really love how it looks. And also the tip of my nose. I barely touch the tip of my nose, something like this, and then the cupid's bow. And now the skin kind of looks more juicy and healthy. Now a very important step if you want your makeup to look natural and skin-like is setting spray. I'm going to use the Makeup Forever Mist and Fix setting spray. This one is good for dry skin. It has kind of a dewy finish. Okay, so I'll get my hair out of the way and just do some mist to cover up my whole face until I feel like my entire face is kind of damp. Okay, so forehead, cheek, center of my face. And be careful to not make too much expressions while the setting spray is still drying. I personally don't use setting spray to make my makeup last longer. I use it rather for melting the makeup into my skin. Setting spray is going to melt off the powder and make your makeup look very skin-like. So okay, I'll zoom in so you can see how my face is looking right now. That's quite everything as far as complexion goes. I'm going to move on to my brows. And I'm going to use this brow wigs by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And first I'm going to use the spoolie side to brush the brow hairs up so I can see the shape that I want to achieve. I'm not going to do my soap brows right now because this whole point of the video is to make a very natural look. But I do have a tutorial for the soap brow if you want to check it out on my channel. Now I'm going to use the brow powder duo again from Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I usually just go back and forth between these shades, a little bit more of the lighter shade, and dust off. Again, like I said, dusting off the excess from the brush is a necessary step for every powder product that you apply. And I start by lining the bottom side of my brow. And I usually start from the middle to the tail, because I don't want a lot of product sitting in the front, but I do have a lot of hairs in the front, so that's not really necessary for my brow shape. I just do little strokes with the brush to kind of fade the product and make it look natural and blend it. And then with whatever is left on my brush, I'm going to drag the product up. You can use the spoolie again to kind of blend it. I'm going to pick up a little bit more of the brow powder to define my tail. And again, I do little strokes. take a little bit of the powder again, and now I'll define the top of my brow. Again, from the middle to the end of my brow, because I don't want too much product in the front. Okay, and now with whatever is still left on my brush, I'm going to go in the front. I like using brow powder because I feel like this is the most natural, like, faded look for the brows. And now I'll take my brow wisp again and just draw some hair strokes in the front, because I feel like my brows are a little bit far away from each other. I like the brow wisp because it has a really fine tip, which allows me to draw hairs. By the way, I'm using the shade medium brown for both the brow wisp and the brow powder. Regardless of the product that you choose to fill in your brows, I feel like the most important step is the brow gel, to make the brows look a lot more natural, and this helps define the hairs and set them in place. So this is the 24-hour brow setter by Benefit. I like it because it makes the brows really stiff and kind of stuck. Something like this. I like that the hairs look a lot more defined, so the whole look of the brow is a lot more natural, and it kind of looks like your brow is fuller and not just filled in with makeup. And by the way, I forgot to mention, the brush that I use to fill in my brows with the brow powder is the Makeup Addiction small angle brush. Next step is going to be eyeshadow. If you don't have enough time to do your eyeshadow, you can leave it as it is and apply a little bit of mascara and go out the door. But I'm going to show you a very simple eyeshadow look, and I'm going to use the Soft Glam palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills, which is like the perfect everyday palette. It also has some shades that you can use for nighttime looks, these darker ones here. It's a really wearable palette. I'm going to do a very basic look, and I'm going to start with a transition shade, and that for me is going to be the burnt orange color. And I'm going to use a Juvia's Place 006 blending brush. This palette is very pigmented, but it is a little bit dusty, so it has a little bit of fallout. And again, like I said, you have to dust off the excess from the brush, so you make sure this excess doesn't fall on your face, or you don't create like a patch of color that you can't blend. So I dust off the excess and apply this color to my crease. And I just do back and forth motions. As a transition, you need to choose a shade that's slightly darker than your skin tone, so it kind of fades into the skin. And I also do circular motions to really blend this shade into my crease. And I'll apply it on the lower lash line as well. Pick up a little bit more product, dust off the excess, and then apply it on the lower lash line. And I'll kind of connect the two parts here in the corner. The next shade that I'm going to use is going to be Rustic, and I'll use it to deepen out the outer corner. For me, a very basic eyeshadow look has 3 shades. One crease shade, one outer corner shade, and one lid shade. And I'm going to use a smaller brush. This is the Morphe M507 brush, and I'll take the shade Rustic on my brush, again dust off the excess, and define my outer corner. Basically where my iris stops, that's where I'm going to apply this shadow. And I'm going to extend it into the outer corner, into the crease shade basically. And now I'll get my previous brush again and really blend these shades together. I'll basically go over the transition again to make sure that everything is blended. So far we only use matte shades for the crease and outer corner, And for the lid shade, you can choose whether you want a shimmer or a matte. It's very rare for me that I do an all matte look. I really love shimmers very much, so if you want a matte, of course, you can use maybe this shade or this shade here, something a little bit lighter than the crease shade. But I will pick a shimmer to go on my eyelid, on either this one or this one. I think I'm going to go with the rose pink shade, and I'm going to apply it on a Morphe M124 brush. It's just a flat brush like this. This is perfect for applying shimmers, or you can also apply it with your fingers. And I think I'm going to do one eye with a brush and one eye with the fingers. I'll apply it on the lower lash line as well, again in the inner third, let's say. And then I'll take my fluffy brush again and go over the crease to make sure everything is blended. And let's see, on the other eye, I'm just going to use my fingers. And shimmers look best when you apply it with the finger. I feel like they look more vibrant and shiny. And I'll use my little finger to apply the shade on the lower lash line. To complete this eye look, I'm going to take a small detail brush like this and go into my highlighter again. And I'll highlight my inner corner. And my brow bone. This is the eyeshadow look all complete. Now I'm going to curl my lashes and apply some mascara. I'm going to skip false lashes for today because this is a very natural look. So I'll just curl my lashes. I never skip this step because my lashes are kind of straight. And I love the effect that this gives. Now I'll apply mascara immediately. I'm going to use the Fenty Full Frontal Mascara. And for this mascara I got feedback from other girls that it kind of smudges on them. Like I said, I do have dry eyelids, so I don't really have that problem. But if you know you have oilier eyelids, it's better to skip this one, I think. I'll apply some on the lower lash line as well. And now I'll take a little bit more and apply a second coat to my top lashes, especially. I always apply more than one coat of mascara because I like full lashes. And when you apply the mascara, you need to apply at the base and then go up to the tips. And the last step that we need to do in order to complete this look is going to be lips. So I'm going to take a lip pencil that's slightly darker than my skin tone. This is the Poison Berries lip pencil in the shade Naked. This is like the perfect nude shade for me. And I'm going to slightly overline my lips. I do have in-depth overlining video on my channel if you want to check that out. And I'll use the same pencil to fill in my lips. To make sure that my lips stay moisturized, I'm going to apply a little bit of the lip balm that we used in the beginning. And I'll just gently tap it over the pencil. And that, guys, concludes this very natural, everyday, beginner-friendly look. I really hope this video was useful for you. If you stayed until this moment, I really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more. I upload on Mondays and Fridays, so I hope I'll see you in my next video. Bye!